Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So today is the Chinese New Year, and it's the beginning of the year of the tiger. So in the Chinese system they have different animals every 12 years. So last year was the year of the ox, and this is the year of the tiger. Tiger, tremendously powerful creature, so it's supposed to reflect upon courage and could be pretty turbulent. So consider it. And what can you learn about it from tigers? What does a tiger teach you? And kind of the old days of the wilderness training. Aspect of wilderness training was to spend time where there were tigers. I've done this myself, going to a wild place where tigers live. And meet the tiger or be around where tigers are. And tiger trains you to be impeccable, because you can't win them over, you can't run away from them, you can't fight them. In the jungle you can't escape them. They teach you to be impeccable. What does that mean? It means you take refuge in the only thing you have. And the most fundamental thing that human beings have that sets them apart. It's a quality that's often ignored or not even realized. It's a lot of human life's about craving and fearing and security and getting things done and planning for the future and making things happen. There's a lot of low-level craving in it, craving for security, craving to get one's own way, craving for something to happen in the future, and a lot of fear, insecurity that things won't work out. Because this whole program of craving and wanting and trying to shore things up and hold things together is always, it's doomed to failure. Because the world, reality, it really is uncertain, and everybody dies. Seeing constantly in a cursory glance at news, you see there's always war going on somewhere, generally several places at once. There's people getting bombed, blasted, frightened, shot to pieces, people starving, people freezing, starving, freezing and getting shot. Fear. So we can't, we seem to be living in a world where so much power that we can't have any say over. The world is like a tiger. So the one thing we need to recollect and train in is we can aspire. No other creature aspires. They seek food, they seek shelter. They seek to defend themselves, but they don't aspire. Humans do that. Maybe we don't do it enough. Maybe we forget about it when things are okay. Just getting on, get by, get through the day, or try to work something out, or on a retreat, get my meditation practice together, or got some lose time, so do a few bits and pieces and keep things going. It's not. But in that way, it can get get dull, gets boring, gets humdrum. The mind gets restless. So you want something to do, somewhere to go, read, look out, go for walks, do something other. Blameless in many ways, but just the sense of energy getting dissipated, because we have this energy, desire energy. If you don't put it into aspiration, it just starts to leak out into 101 okay things to do. Allowable, okay things to do. There's no moral indictment about that. It just is because it's not bad. One doesn't necessarily see or realize the danger of it. Danger may be a strong word, but leakage, just kind of energy leaking out, and this and that, and this and that, and speculation, and sometimes some really quite unpleasant personal tangles it gets wound up in. What am I supposed to do with my life? Do I really believe this is a really good thing to be doing, stuck in this monastery? Do I need to be here? Do I want to be here? What's the point? It's okay, but so what? And then mind loses its alertness, its quality called attapi. Attapi, it means it's eager. It's like the ears are pricked up. It's on the ball. It's sharp. Attapi, ardent. It's a kind of desire. But rather than craving, which is always kind of trying to gobble something up, concoct something, it's the desire to bring forth, rather than to consume, to bring forth. Ardent. To bring forth the human, the uniquely human. Aspiration, commitment. The mind sits up. And then the most fundamental things we commit to, as we've done today, all of us, we're taking refuge. It's a different alignment, isn't it? A very powerful, significant word, refuge, because even if things aren't really directly horrific or life-threatening, we take refuge from our proliferating, babbling minds that can generate complexities that we get foggy with, we lose our way with. Alternatives, You know, a lot of life in a monastery can be about creating other places I could go, or will go, or should go, or wish I had gone, or things I have done I'd like to have done differently, or things I would like to do again I can't do, or things in the future I'd like to do. It's always trying to get away from where you are. You think, what's bad? What's wrong with it here? You know. And the mind has lost its groove, loses the immediacy. Now, when you're facing a tiger, you're not thinking about how the good old days or where else you're going to go. You're very alert. And that's why the training was to go into the jungle, because you meet the tiger or meet the bear, and you just have to. And they say, you know, you bring up the mind, I take refuge. I take refuge. And I mean no harm. You determine not just, I won't swat a mosquito, but I take refuge in that quality in me that can determine, avow and feel the beauty and the strength of determination to avoid harming, destroying. And they would do this. These people in the forest, trainees, just, okay, whatever else, you know, to the tiger, this is your territory, I mean no harm, I have not taken life. You know, in all the time I've been a trainee, I have not taken life, and I stand on that. I take my stand on that. If you want to kill me, I can't stop it. Yeah, but I take my stand on this. It just gives certain strength, because you are finding a place to stand, which is true, which is empowering, which gives you a place to stand. It's dignified, it's true, and it's blameless. And nobody can take it away from you. And if you've cultivated that training over years, you've definitely got something you can stand on. And you get the felt experience of determination, harmlessness. There's a certain energy that comes with it, which is just, there is no fear. The mind is resolute, no fear. Because, you know, and the animal picks it up. The animals tune in. Say, you know, to the tiger, if you need to kill me, I can't stop that. But this is where I stand, and, you know, I mean no harm. That pick up, because it has a heart energy to it of steadiness and coolness. No agitation, no fluster, no trembling, no shaking, and the animal is calmed by that. Or you start running around, flapping your arms in the air and screaming, it's going to jump off, it's going to chase you. So the tiger teaches you that. This is your only chance. You go to that. An aspiration, but also an aspiration that's not, you know, I wish to be a Buddha, which is fine, but it's an aspiration actually you can bear witness to and commit to right now and feel the benefit and feel it. Feel that particular steady relinquishing, that in us which doesn't care, violates. You draw all your energy together around that harmlessness. And it's got a very strong, cooling energy to it. And so, we can aspire to sustaining that. Just this one precept. So this quality of aspiration, it's a sort of, you could say, it's an energy. It's a transmutation of desire from I want to be, I want to have something in the future. You turn that to I am now. This, I affirm it. So the energy, instead of running out to this, that, and the other, is gathered. It gives you its strength. And then you've got something. So yeah, okay. Well, my aspiration is to continue this and to dwell in this, even though things may annoy me, things may bother me, whatever. I will not move from that. Yeah. So you've got something you can actually work with as well and perfect as a practice. And if you are keeping it, which I imagine most of us are having a good attempt to keep that, and probably quite successful in a situation, then you can just bring your mind back to it. Don't think about this, that, and the other. Just think about you have not harmed creatures. And the particular strength of restraint, the strength of value that you are experiencing, and what it makes possible if we don't harm creatures. The fear dissolves. No creature need fear me. Rats need not fear me. In spiders, creatures I don't like really, there need be no fear and violence energies. I don't adopt those. I relinquish those energies of threat and violation and anger and cruelty. I relinquish them. And the cleaning. Yeah. And because these things are so simple, sometimes we do them, but we don't necessarily realize sukhating yanti, a vehicle to well-being, a vehicle to bhoga sampada, to a completion of treasure, a bhoga, something that's got some value in it, and vehicle nibbutting yanti, cooling the agitated, fiery energies. And these are much more than ideas. These are definitely heart energies and also body energies that you can feel them, and certainly other creatures can feel them. Animals pick that up. They pick up your fear. They pick up your hatred. They can pick it up. So you have to be impeccable in that respect. And so even when we're not with tigers, it's not a bad thing to remember. Because actually, human beings do each other much more harm than tigers. And this is just the first. Then we look at the other precepts. And you develop them. Refraining from destroying living creatures. So don't put pesticides, insecticides, poisons, toxins. Be careful when you're moving around so you don't squash insects. Where you live doesn't damage creatures. We build a fire of wood. We practice is to take the wood and shake it. So if there's any insects living on it, shake it off before you put it on the fire. So a rain barrel, you can take water out of the rain barrel, so you put a kind of a mesh over it so creatures don't get into it. Otherwise, you take the water out, it's going to damage them. Even leaving a bucket of water open, well, particularly if you're in a tropical country, mosquitoes will lay their eggs in that. Use the water, you damage their larvae. So all kinds of procedures around making sure water is covered, so creatures don't get into it. Then you'll take their life. And so it really, you develop a lot of mindfulness, appropriate attention and mindfulness to how you're moving around. But the overall energy of it gives a certain, unmistakable quality to the samana. These are gentle people. They're not weak. They're not feeble. But they're collected, their energy, as traces of brutality, violence, dismissiveness have been eradicated, removed. And you take delight in it. And reflect upon it. And often, when we come to what we imagine or mind cultivation to be, I think of mindfulness, meditation and so on, that's certainly true. But it's never the case that mindfulness or meditation is the beginning. Even mindfulness itself, which is highly valued, and I would agree with that. You don't begin with mindfulness, you begin with faith, which is the sense of that there is something that can be brought forth in this. This being can come to a higher state, better state. And first of all, we don't want to do something, make something, Yeah, and then you're trying to transmute that into affirming something that's present. You affirm the qualities of awareness, of commitment, of ethical conduct. And you aspire to perfect it. So something like second precept, to not take that which is not given. Obviously, not stealing things. But in samana life, the saying is, if it's not offered, it's not needed. Don't ask. Don't reach out for stuff. Things happen, don't happen. So the samana sits back. They don't angle for anything. That's the training. And you aspire to, can I do that? Can I see areas in where I think I kind of make a hint, it'd be rather nice to have one of those, I wouldn't mind some of that. What's that feel like? Leaning over, isn't it? We're leaning over. And it's not immoral at that level, but just what it's like to say, just if it's not offered, I don't need it. A sense of coolness and completion that comes with that, contentment, and training oneself. Material things, immaterial things. So I made that determination early on in my samana life. I remember I was staying at this place in Oxfordshire with the fledgling Sangha, 3 or 4 of us. maybe 5 or something. And it was the winter time, and I only had these robes which were actually too small for me. I just had some old robes in the stores, and a bit too small for me. And a pair of open-toed sandals, which my mother had given me. And like it's winter time. And the idea is we go bindabat, arms round, which we're out in the countryside, so it just meant you went for a 3-mile walk around the lanes. We didn't really know what we were doing. It was winter time, and it snowed. So every morning I'd go out and through this snow in my open-toed sandals. And one time some boots came into the monastery. There were about 3 or 4 pairs of boots, and they went to, first of all, I think Ajahn Sumedho got a pair, then this other monk got a pair, and I gave Samir a pair. There weren't enough boots. I didn't get a pair. Okay, let's go. Not needed. Go bindabat, walking through the snow. Snow was 2 foot deep. Just every morning, just go out there, feet freezing, feet through the snow. Just standing on that. Not given, not needed. None of that. And it just gave a position whereby I could feel the feelings of the freezing cold feet, and I just laughed at it. And it just that how such a thing as sensation, physical sensation and feeling, can reduce the mind to a quivering mess. You think, it's only a feeling, for goodness sake, It's only a feeling. And you can run away from a feeling and complain about a feeling. It's just a feeling. And you have an aspiration that you can turn to that's bright, strong. Just go to that. Drop the feeling bit. Don't get involved with the feeling. Bring back the aspiration. Linger in that. Aspiration is just, I'm a samana. I walk, arms round. It snows, it rains. That's what weather does. It's not my business. I can't make weather, but I can make aspiration. And this is how you stand apart from the worldly currents. You think, why didn't I get a pair? He got a pair, why didn't I get a pair? Isn't it stupid people didn't give me a pair? You don't want to go down that line. So you just hold that. And then, it's really good, because generally certainly in monasteries, often the case there's 15 monks and there's maybe 4 ice creams. Okay? So but certainly personally, I don't, because I'm now a senior monk, if I see there's 4 ice creams, I don't take it. I'd sooner live in that. Somebody else can have it. The lay people can have it. I'm here for ice cream. Feeling. Just to feed my belly. And get a bit of delight. You're here for aspiration. Step back from that. No, actually we don't. Here we don't. I don't think we really go without very much at all. But sometimes it's good to, because then you really test yourself. What are you here for? And you really reminds you, go back to your aspiration. We're going to live free here. There's a possibility of freedom from this craving and nagging and worrying and complaining and comparing. There's this beautiful place. Stand in that. The mind feels upright. It gives you more faith because you realize once you begin to enter this realm of the heart, through aspiration and commitment, you've got a very powerful resource that's going to take you through a lot of stuff where you normally complain and moan and fear and manipulate and run away and fidget. You say, no, this place doesn't fidget, this doesn't run away. And it makes you feel good. It takes me out of the world of coming and going and fortune and misfortune and people I like and people I don't like and all that kind of stuff. So when we take these precepts, why do people take them? I mean, I'm sure people take them for a whole number of reasons. Probably some of it's just custom. Maybe some of it's just blind belief. But to take them, to value them, means you're remembering your Dhamma body, a very important aspect of what I'll call your Dhamma body. Because it almost feels like a body when it becomes strong. You can find yourself sliding out of it like you're losing balance or drunk with ideas or stuffed with full of projects or fascinated with stuff. You shake it off. You come back to, right, this. You know, of course, sexuality is a big thing for people. But then you think this kind of heat and all the agitation that goes along with it, all the heating up and agitation and kind of playing around and teasing and fantasizing and thinking, oh my goodness me, get out of this. You know, this is just bleeds you dry. People can actually lose their life force on this stuff. Yeah, and you can see it's such a, now it's just everything in the world is layered with it, you know, with glamorous people, with bodies, with titillation, you know, with pornography, with fashions, with beauty, with, you know, what is all this about? It's just a dream, isn't it? You know, hot dream, heated, endlessly craving to be stimulated. And so you take this sexual restraint and celibacy, you know, as some kind of punishment, which which probably, you know, in the way of the world, it can seem like a punishment or a bad deal, but actually I think this is come into the cool place, where I'm no longer trying to get some angle on somebody or doing, you know, presenting something to win someone over. Just enough of this silliness, you know. And it's enormous transformation, because, you know, the sense of, you know, our stimulation, appetites, which, you know, certainly when you're coming from life in a busy world, you know, stimulation and response. Stimulation is brisk, it's constant, bam, 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 bam. Not always, certainly not always pleasant, but your nerves are always being jangled by something or the other. Sight, sound, music, blaring, pieces of information, people, events, and then and responding, planning this, working that out, sorting that out, putting that aside, figuring this, doing that, doing the other. So you've got this very rapid energy that gets so busy that you lose your marbles. I mean, people are technically sane, I'm sure, but you lose your Dhamma body. your sense of poise, calm, steadiness, simplicity, presence is lost in this. Because the system never knows itself. It's always just firing off. It's always that which is activated. Stimulated and responded, stimulate, respond, stimulate. So you come to a monastery and what do you do? Well, you sit there. What do I do when I sit there? Just sit there. Empty. What? Okay, something to do. Let's do just follow your breathing. Be with your breathing, hold your body up. If it's too difficult, then generate some qualities of gratitude and towards other beings, or affection or compassion. Yeah. And so on. And these are all, but it's not just to fill up the time, it's also to heal the nervous system, which is fried and constantly needing something more to get going on. So as we all know, certainly when I started, it's just like deep end, from doing no meditation, just being put in a solitary kuti for, 2 3/4 years, solitude. He says, listening to every record I'd ever had, played over and over again in my head every day. Hi-fi, volume, stereo, every piece of music I'd ever heard was playing. That went on for 6 months. The nervous system was saturated in it. So when I actually, obviously there was no music where I was, so this is just going on in my head. There was no law against playing music, nothing wrong with music, it's not against the law, it's not immoral. But just the mind was just so, could not bear the absence of stimulation. So it just starts stimulating itself. And of course there was worse than that. That was a bit, you're trying to focus on breathing or something, it's just this sound of rock music playing in your head. It's just trying to shut up and focus. And then, the different moods, and then when you start to, that begins to empty out, then you're sucking the stuff out of the bottom of the barrel, feeling a loneliness, disappointment. What am I doing here? Fantasizing where I could be. That is what I'm going to do in the future. Somewhere else, maybe this, maybe that. Just there's stuff coming out. And then really so important to find something. And it's not about craving, it's saying, I am putting in time to settle. And renunciation is a difficult thing to do. So I'll just take it one moment at a time to slow it down a little. I will not ask my mind to be quiet. I will just say, could you babble just a little bit slower? I'll start to relate to it, talk to it. It says, and then so you develop right speech internally. Because the precept on speech involves thinking. How much negative thinking, how much despairing thinking, how much irritated, frustrated thinking, how many put-downs, how much do we do, how much we spend our time doing that? Complaining about ourselves, or complaining about the system, or complaining about other people, or mixture of all of it. Complain about the system, monastery, dull, boring, should be this, that, and the other, complaining about the people. He's lazy, he doesn't cooperate, he's a control freak, complaining about yourself, ungrateful, stupid, lazy, can't get my head together. And just, is there some other thing you could come up with, like, I do not kill creatures? Just change the record, put a different record on, rather than playing this stuff. If you've got to think, why think stuff that just puts poison into your system? If he's a control freak, that's his problem. Why do you have to, bathe yourself in negativity? So just refrain. Not interested in gossip. Not interested in comparing and slandering. Not interested in it. Not interested in just whiling the time away by chit-chat, which serves, it's just nervous energy. And we make an effort with it. We aspire. And by and large, we're not 100%. We do grumble, we do feel negative thoughts, but at least you've got an aspiration. So it says, just wait a minute, stop. Just a minute. You're not doing that. All right. I remember I made a resolution one of the first years I was at Amravati, which was crazy. It was very confusing because we didn't really have any systems in place to operate a large open centre, and Lumpur made us very keen to have it pretty open, which meant all kinds of people in all kinds of mind states would come in, and you'd kind of trying to deal with all this stuff, and see extremely trying to this idiot and stupid, and then why do we have to do this? And complaining. And I thought I made a resolution for one reigns to not allow my mind to complain. So it started to complain. You shouldn't stop. I complain about Ajahn Sumedho. Why did he do all this? Why it's all right for him? Hey, stop. What good's that going to do you? Right. And the meditation hall was what's called the sala now, with a kitchen and the washing machine right adjacent to it, and the spin dryer. So you'd be in the morning puja and somebody decided they needed to, for some reason or other, wash their socks or dry out a towel. You're sitting there, so you're going to wong, 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 jigga, 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 jigga. It's this washing machine, spin dryer going on. Do we have to do this at 5 o'clock in the morning? Somebody found it was their one time where they get access to the washing machine, because there's only one washing machine, so they think, okay, I'll bung it in now, See, people aren't mindful, these stupid people aren't mindful, and stop doing that. Why can't people put the tools away? Stop doing that. Why can't they stop doing that? No. And what happens? You find you've got a mind of compassion arises. Because when you have to relate to the uncomfortable, the unpleasant, the crazy, without dismissing it, despising it, shielding yourself from it, protecting yourself from it, there's only one thing you can do. You have to open up. Put down the rod of ill will. What happens is the heart opens with something compassionate and okay, patient, okay. Let's just get through this one difficult moment, okay. Breathing out. Everybody gets confused, okay. Let's just not start to create a person out of a piece of behavior. He has to live with that behavior. Don't make a person out of it. Otherwise it gets stuck in you. And you've seen the results of that. People can have all these people stuck inside them that they're complaining about. Oh, Mr. Biggs, he's such a pig, and so. Stuck inside them. People they're still fighting with and quarrelling with, and have a loose moment and start talking about them. Did you know, Jesse, so-and-so, yeah, he's a right. Yeah. Got all kind of, all the tribunals we can create about all the things that people did that were wrong to us. You can use a lot of energy on that. Or you could just, not worth talking about. Not because you're just kind of trying to shut it all up, but just, it does me no good. It's beneath me. I can live in the quality of good intent and make an effort to fashion careful, sustaining, useful, purposeful thought. Or I can just drop it a whole lot and get into a real tangle, and I will reap results of that. Right? The tiger's looking you in the face. What do you want to do? I think I'll go for that. This is the way we cultivate. And we aspire. As the Buddha says, not everything that you know should be talked about, but talk that causes skillful states to arise, unskillful states to decline, that's worthy of putting your attention into. It's called careful attention. Yoniso manasikara. You aspire to bring forth careful attention. You have faith that you can do it. It's not that esoteric. Give yourself the chance. It's not that it's that difficult, but just we take the lazy, habitual way if we don't aspire and withdraw and realize there is something present in us. We can all do that. We can all stop that hurtful word, feel the disagreement in our hearts, practice, and say, I found that difficult. Not blaming, not accusing, just expressing, let you know. So this is this is how we get out of this worldly tangle. Of course, one could talk about all of the precepts, but time is short. But essentially, if you reflect on them, see, this is your main cultivation. Whether you can, how long you can sit still for, that's going to happen. Some bodies are not that good at it. So on, so on, and so on, and so on. But you can keep the precepts, and you can value them, and you can linger in them, and you can amplify them, and you can refine them, and you can take refuge in them, and you can give your attention to the felt quality of the mind that is gentle, contented, sensitive to the welfare of others, skillful in what it says and brings forth and does, ready to drop what isn't needed. And that's the heart of the holy life. We cultivate it, whether you're a bhikkhu, samaya, anagarika, laywoman, siddhadhara, anagarika. It's open for everybody. You know, you don't need to go through any ceremonies to do it. You don't, it's open for everybody. It's the open way, the holy life. So let's take the opportunity to enter the year of the tiger, looking the tiger straight in the eye, knowing who we are, knowing what we are, the tigers can't destroy. Anyone?